Today we're going to go through 6 psych-backed ways to improve your mental health. And this episode is sponsored by SeasonsInMalibu. SeasonsInMalibu, if you don't know, is a CARF-accredited dual diagnosis treatment center. And they specialize in addictions like opiate addictions, alcoholism, cocaine addiction, prescription drug abuse, and more. And after opening up with my own struggles with depression, they actually reached out and wanted to partner with me and support what we're doing with Peak Your Mind. So a huge shout out to them. Stick around to the end of the video to hear more about what they do. But for now, let's get started with today's video. My goal for today's video is just to offer you some solutions and practical steps that we can all take to improve our mental health. So whether it's anxiety or depression or addiction or whatever you're going through, I think it's easy to feel ashamed when that's a struggle for you, but just realize that there's nothing to be ashamed of, that this is a safe space, and that we're all growing and learning as we go, and we're here to support each other. So let's get started with the first tip. The first tip is to listen to depressing music. And I know that sounds kind of weird and counterintuitive, like doesn't that just make you more sad? But the idea behind this is that it's actually cathartic. So instead of suppressing these emotions and bottling them up, you can express them. And studies have shown that crying can actually help you heal after a breakup. And one study found that a good cry can actually boost your mood. And I don't like to admit this, but movies always get me. I think the movie I cried in most recently was Wonder Woman. It just like got me. I cried like 3 times, but that's just me. And so while this might seem counterintuitive, different methods will work for different people. So as you try these things out, make sure you tailor them to whatever works best for you. Tip number 2 is to take a break from social media. And I think a lot of people bash social media. It's easy to kind of point the finger there. I think there's a lot of good to social media, but there's also a reason why more and more people are reporting being lonely. And what's bizarre is we're more connected than ever. Social media allows us to talk to anybody around the world and talk to anybody instantly and see what people are up to. But one study found that the most common emotion of people scrolling through Facebook was depression. And there's different theories why, but the main one is that when you're scrolling through, there's an internal comparison taking place, and you're seeing everyone else's highlight reels. You're just seeing people get married or travel the world or have so much fun. And so it's easy for your mental health to take a hit when you're comparing. It's like, okay, well, what did I do today? Nothing. And so something my sister actually put me onto was just taking a break from social media and doing kind of a digital detox where you take a day or a few hours to yourself to just give yourself a break and reconnect to yourself. And just by doing that, by taking a break, it can do wonders for your mental health, especially when you combine it with the next tip. So the third tip is gratitude journaling. Gratitude is something we've talked about a lot on this channel. It's not something new and revolutionary, but there's a difference between knowing what to do and actually having a practice that you put into place. Because the benefits of this practice really show up when you're intentional about it, when you integrate it into your life. And what's really cool about this is it doesn't have to be super time consuming. It doesn't have to be 20 minutes a day or an hour a day or 50 things you're grateful for. Studies have found that when people write just a few sentences a week of things that they're grateful for, it effectively improved their mental health. Their overall happiness increases, their depression decreases, and it actually retrains your brain to focus on what you're grateful for. And that's huge because in any situation, whenever you're facing something that's challenging, your brain wants to go to, why me, this sucks. But when you retrain your brain to focus on, where's the good in this? How can I learn from this? How can I become better in this? What can I find to be grateful for in this moment? That's life-changing because now you're changing the filter through which you view the world, and you don't have to enjoy life just when you're on the upslope, but on the downslopes you can see the good in it. And so overall, your mental health just improves dramatically. And honestly, it's such a simple but powerful practice, and it's kind of a no-brainer to incorporate this into your life to improve your happiness and your mental health. So tip number 4 is to relabel and refocus. And this is a really simple 2-step process that I grabbed from the book You Are Not Your Brain, based on brain research. And it's particularly useful when it comes to battling anxiety. So step 1 is to relabel the thought. Most people just accept anxious thoughts or unhelpful thoughts as truth, but what this step allows you to do is identify the thought outside of yourself. And instead of just accepting and entertaining every depressing or limiting or anxious thought that pops in your head, you relabel them as an anxious thought, or there's a depressing thought, or there's a limiting thought. And what research has shown is that by labeling a thought or a feeling or an emotion, it allows you to manage it instead of letting it run your life. So that's step 1. Step 2 is to refocus. And whenever we experience anxiety or depression or any challenge when it comes to mental health, we all have different ways of dealing with it. And it's usually something to escape the feeling, so eating or drinking or smoking or binging, but it's usually the same behaviors that trigger a destructive cycle or trap us in a loop instead of dealing with those things in a healthy and positive way. And so for this step, you simply change your focus from those destructive behaviors to something that's actually going to benefit you and your well-being. And so for me, whenever I'm in a funk or periods of my life where I've been struggling with depression, all I want to do is just retreat to my room and be alone and shut out the world and be alone with my thoughts. And so for me, what that would look like is taking opposite action. passion, calling a friend, going on a run, going out and doing something with people, which is the last thing I want to do. And usually when it's something like this that we're struggling with, the last thing we want to do is the best thing for us. And so that's what it means to refocus. And studies have actually shown, similar to the last tip, that when you refocus and relabel, you actually train your brain to deal with those things naturally, to deal with your mental health or anxiety or depression in a positive way. And so keeping with the theme of focus, tip number 5 is to do for others. Something that was really interesting to me when I was studying and learning more about mental health is that in order to feel depressed or anxious or stressed, our focus has to be inward. It has to be on our own thoughts and our own feelings. But what studies have found is that when you shift your focus outside yourself, when you do for others, either an act of kindness or an act of service or just something for someone else, it has a powerful positive effect on your own emotional well-being, how you feel about yourself, how you see yourself. It's been proven, and it can be as simple as calling a friend and saying hey, or sending a text to somebody and telling them something that you admire about them, or cooking someone dinner or doing the dishes. You know, I remember working at a yoga studio a while ago. I got to chatting with this lady who had this really cool necklace on, and it was actually a necklace in memory of her daughter that she lost. And so we got to talking, kind of lost track of time, and so the yoga class that she was going to was about to start, and she rushed in and forgot to pay, and I thought, I'm just gonna pay for her class. What is it, like $5-10? It doesn't have to be an extravagant action. Research shows that even the little things can go a long way and make a powerful positive difference in terms of your mental health. So that's tip number 5. Tip number 6 is going to therapy. And I personally think everyone should have a therapist, everyone should be going to therapy. And I actually dated someone for a while who struggled with their mental health and saw a therapist to help them navigate that. And while we were dating, I actually went to a couple sessions with her. And it was awesome to just grow in our understanding of each other and ourselves. And it's powerful because yes, you've got your friends and you got your family, and that can go a long way, but there's something about talking to someone who knows their stuff and who can help you work through it. Sadly, I've also had a couple of friends who have struggled with this area with a co-occurring disorder or a dual diagnosis, which is a combination of mental health and substance use disorders that occur at the same time, and they're no longer with us. And so if there's something that I could have said or done or shared with them or given them some tools to help them kind of navigate that, that's something I wish I would have done. And so if this is a challenge that you're going through, there's honestly just nothing to be ashamed of. We're all learning and growing, and we have our own trials and our own struggles, and we're here to support each other and encourage each other in that. And so that's why I wanted to make this video, to open up this conversation. I thought it was really cool that SeasonsInMalibu wanted to partner with me in this mission and make this possible. And so a huge thank you to them. And just to tell you a bit more about them, SeasonsInMalibu is a CARF-accredited dual diagnosis luxury rehab and addiction center in Malibu. And they specialize in everything from alcohol rehab to drug rehab, mental health treatment, co-occurring disorders, outpatient programs, pairing individuals with sober companions, and aftercare and recovering planning. And with that, they include cutting-edge treatments like brain spotting. They do acupuncture, massage, restorative therapies, intensive psychotherapy, ocean adventure experiences like kayaking and surfing and swimming, which sound like a lot of fun. And you can check out more of what they do on their website. But what I really like about them and what they do is it's not just a one-size-fits-all approach. They offer a systemic approach, and they work with each person and each individual on a case-by-case basis to develop, okay, what's gonna be an effective treatment for this individual. And I actually have a friend who is really near and dear to me who went to a similar center, not for addiction treatment or rehab, but for an eating disorder, and they were able to get better and get the treatment that they needed. And so I'm a huge fan of centers like this. I encourage you to visit their website and check them out and learn more about what they do and what they're all about. But as always, thank you for watching. Comment below and let me know, what are your favorite tips, things that help you out in terms of dealing with mental health. If you know someone who would benefit from this video, please share it with them. And if you want to join our Peak Your Mind family, you want to see more videos like this, click here to subscribe, here to watch another video, and here to visit PeakYourMind.com to get exclusive content that I only put up on the website. I love you guys. I hope you have an amazing day. Stay peaked, and I'll see you in the next video.